or something going on. Okay, so now you can hop back up now that we clarified that. All right, so all right, we'll slide to the end here. All right, still very minimal pain. We can move on to like weight bearing now, okay? But before I do the weight bearing, I'm gonna have him lift his leg on his own, okay? Okay, it's like, ooh, I feel a little bit of discomfort. It's like you have discomfort and you have pain, right? So discomfort, that's gonna be normal for pretty much anybody that we go on that has fallen. You're like, okay, and you ask them, you're like, hey, do you think you can put any weight on it? If they don't think they can do it, then we just stop, we'll lift them up, put them on the gurney, we'll call it good. If they feel like they can do pain, we'll be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna step off, we're gonna get off the bed, we're gonna get you here, we're gonna put all the weight on the good leg, okay? You are helping. You have you and your partner helping at all times, right? So now you're the crutch, right? So then they're like, okay, all right, go ahead and put a little bit of weight on it. Okay, yep, good. And then you just slowly start to put more and more, okay? Okay, how's that feel? Yeah, a little uncomfortable. Okay, let's do a little road test. Okay, now we do our little walk, right? So when are they going to have failure if it's going to happen?
Full weight bearing.
When they get the full weight onto that leg and they lift their next leg up. Okay? So when they do that is when you have to have hold of their belt, have hold of their arm, because if they go down, basically you're keeping them from going all the way down. Right? It's funny because people get so mad when they have like a belt or something on and they start to and they're like, hey, because like you grab it and you're giving them a nice little wedgie because you're holding everything up before they've even fallen. They're like, hey. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, just getting ready just in case you fall. But that's what you do. Like you get yourself into that position. So like you're in that curl position where it's just like, okay, and here we go. And we're good. Oh, okay.
What are you doing with your hand?
Hanging on to the belt. Okay. Dislocation versus fracture. So if you have a dislocation versus a fracture, what are you going to see? What's the big difference in visualization and looking at it?
How much?
Deformity where? Somewhere that there isn't normally a hard mass, there's going to be a hard mass usually. Okay? And basically you're going to end up with the head of the femur, the head of your humerus, someplace that it shouldn't be, right? And they are not going to be moved. They're not going to move. The funnest ones to splint are these ones. Right? Dustin, lay down.
I'm not using patience for the day. Dang it.
Are you complaining?
Nope.
All right, right arm up. So, how are we going to splint this? So, is this fractured or dislocated?
Dislocated. We don't know yet.
We don't know. We haven't even touched him. We haven't even talked to him. Oh,
We're talking about
I set you up for failure. Okay? So if you guys need to stand up to see a little bit better, that's okay. We're going to do a little more hands-on stuff here so you guys can kind of see some of this stuff. Okay, so some of this assessment, right? So if he fell down, got hooked on something, this is more of a, hey, I was getting out of the fire engine and I got my arm hooked on something and now something happened. I don't know what, and I ended up on the ground. So now, he looks really uncomfortable.
I do have back pain. Keep going.
Like real life back pain?
Yeah.
Then get up.
Yeah, do it.
No, get up. Get up. I don't need.
No hurt.
Andrew, get it. No. Andrew.
Sorry, I took the spot.
Okay, so now Andrew was trying to get out. Is that fair?
Back pain.
Okay. So how do we assess this? What steps do we take?
Similar to the hip. Similar to the hip.
Similar to the hip, right? So, hey, can you move your arm? Oh, good. Oh, you can move his hands. Okay, we're off to a good start. Did it hurt when you moved your hand?
No, not really.
Hey, why don't you get up off the ground? Yes. Okay. Okay. Obviously, you're gonna take a little better tack to it. So he's down here and he's like this. If it's dislocated, do we pop it back in?
No.
No. What's the one thing that we can pop in?
Kneecaps.
Patella.
If for some crazy reason it happens to pop in while you're going to the hospital, it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay. Is this going to be an easy splint job? No. Okay. So when it comes to this, depending on, so if he's rotated up, so if you have a posterior dislocation, you have anterior dislocations, right? So if he's dislocated this way, and you have this giant mass up here, Is this gonna be an easy splint job?
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Splint
right?
to the body.
It's like, oh, hey, whoop, whoop, hey, piece of cake, right? Yeah, this one's not so easy. This is the, hey, you broke your arms and now you got both your arms broken and now you gotta walk around with casts like this, right? Good. So, if he's like this, and it's dislocated at the shoulder, is his elbow affected?
No.
No. So do you think he could maybe rotate this way?
Maybe.
That's
If he
probably
doesn't,
Oh, are we stopped? Ah, right? So that's what you're gonna do though. So part of your assessment, right? So first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna check your CMS, right? You did all your other assessment, right? Make sure there's not something crazy, he's not bleeding out, not dying, doing all your trauma assessment, right? Because obviously we've got ourselves in this situation. LOC, airway management, breathing circulation, boom. Oh, this is the only thing. Little old lady fell. We check our pulses, make sure we have pulses all the way around. We're good there. Okay. Now it's like, you know what? I'm calling this a dislocation, right? Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
So if I do this and I meet resistance,
Resistance, yeah.
okay, then that means there's something stopping me, right? So does that mean that, like when I say something's stopping me, what do you think is stopping?
Usually
Ball
it's
in the
pain.
joint.
Usually it's bone on bone. The two bones are coming together, not in the right place. Okay, so you got these two bones coming together, not in the right place. Resistance, pain, this isn't gonna work. If it's broken, what's gonna happen?
Flop.
loose, then it can turn.
Whoa, easy, right? So if he's just broken up here, depending on where it is, if it's in the humerus, obviously we did our palpation, figured out where the pain is. If this is dislocated, I'm gonna reach around here and I'm gonna feel, and I'm probably gonna have a giant lump right here.
On the inside, on the back. or
Yep,
on the-
right here in the front, okay? Because basically the head has kind of popped to the anterior here. And so you got this mass here, and so it's like, okay, yep, that is not a fracture, right? So we did a little of this, you see this thing move, it's like, okay, we're good there. This person's gonna be highly medicated because we can, and that's what we're gonna do because think about it, if you're up like this and everything hurts to move, you're gonna wanna snow the person, right? So, but if there's no mass here and he's just like that and he goes to sit up and it hurts and stuff, but like you see a little bit of movement to it, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna see where I get with my pain. It's like, okay, do you got pain? Oh, got a little bit of pain there. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna slide my hand under the elbow now. Okay, so I'm supporting the elbow and I'm supporting the hand. It's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna try and take it towards your body. Okay, so then I'm gonna try and bring it this way. So if it's dislocated, what am I thinking?
It might pop back in.
Your resistance?
Well, I'm thinking I'm gonna feel resistance, right? The whole time I'm looking at this, if there's a mass there or not. If the mass is there, I'm probably not even trying this move at all, right? If there's a mass right here, if I can't get it all the way down that way, but if you look at it, you see how his shoulder just rotates naturally. So if I can't get it, if I meet resistance as I'm bringing him over, I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna throw the splint on, and this is how he's going to the hospital. Okay, but if I can get movement to here and a little bit of pain here, my next move is going to be to the inside of the lateral side of the body. Okay, and most of the time, if you support it as you come, so you start with the elbow as you come across, slide your hand up to there. Okay, and then you can rotate that across there. They have them reach up, grab that with their hand, and you're able to make movements a little bit better. If I'm able to do those kinds of things, I already got my sling and swath or my vacuum splint or whatever device I'm going to use to try and immobilize this. I have that virtually ready to slide underneath so that when I get to here, if I realize if I'm going to make this, I'm going to stop here so I can feed the sling up underneath it instead of getting it all the way to here and then trying to sling and swat, right? And so that once we get to there, once we get it slinged and swathed, then we can go to try and sit them up, because then you don't want to really, I've watched people put a sling on while somebody's laying down. Is that going to work? You got to have gravity. You got to get the position, you got to have gravity. You got to get your knot tied in the right spot, okay?
What if they can't do any of those motions?
Yeah, how do you split this?
You're done. So you're going to use vacuum splint, you're going to use cardboard splints. So bring that back up there. So if he's like that, whew, let's say we have a vacuum splint. Does everybody know what vacuum splits are? Most places carry vacuum splits now because they're so universal and can use it. A lot of times you can run it up here and run it out this direction, so you're putting a splint here. And then depending on whether or not you have to, what you can do with this arm, but majority of the time you're creating a support here and then you're wrapping, okay? And so, oh, hey, looky. And so the funny thing is when you roll into the ER with somebody like this, they're like, oh, they usually know it's a dislocation, okay? Let's see. One other thing I was gonna say about that. Oh, yeah, when you get them on the gurney, right? Are they bigger and wider than they normally are? But don't hit their arm on the door walking through the door.
We put binding tape on it?
Yeah, you can put bubble wrap.
Hang a cone off it.
Oh, we got the big one. Oh, we need the big one. Andrew's so big and buff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks, guys.
all right. So if you can, you're gonna roll them just a little bit. Okay, so roll up just on your side, just a hair. There you go. All right, come back down. And so can we wrap this around him?
Yes.
Not very well though. Like if you think about what we're trying to do, basically we're trying to create this little, you want that all the way under. Like, but we're not wrapping like
cooperative patient.
this way a lot, right? Like we're gonna come up short a lot of the time. And so you just basically, you're creating this 90-degree angle, best you can, right? And that's what I did that. Port on the underneath side. Hop up again. There. Slide down.
Making your face move.
There we go. Making patient do all the
Why
work.
didn't you just drive yourself to the ER?
So you're gonna slide this up
I got
on him.
fired.
So you're gonna slide this up on him, so because you want to immobilize basically the elbow, right? And then you want to immobilize it to the torso here. Here, slide. There you go. That's good enough. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I need a bunch. Too much. There you go. Whew. There we go. Okay. So Noah, let's go ahead and pump this up. And the big thing with this one is making sure right around the shoulder and the elbow is where you really want to hold it in place, okay?
I never even thought of this.
Yeah, that's what I was laughing from.
Okay. All right, Andrew, go ahead and hop up. All the way up, all the way up. Okay? So you can use C-spine straps if this won't reach, depending on the size of the patient.
Fitness challenge.
See, I come up a bit short.
Early.
Andrew's a little bit too heavy set.
It's early, we're early.
But so how's that supporting there, Andrew?
It's great.
All right, so.
Good.
So so that's how you're gonna roll into the ER, and they're gonna be like, oh, okay, I see you got creative, right? But most of the time they're gonna know that it's
I wanna see this.
right? So the big thing, so the important thing is to anchor it to his torso,
Yeah.
okay? Because you saw there what happened when as soon as weight starts getting pushed down here, the whole splint and everything starts to move down, okay? So you really wanna make sure, try and wrap this. You can use C-spine. So if you use a C-spine strap and run it right underneath the armpit and cinch it down right there. Well, that one actually maybe you can reach. But how many patients do we have that are his stature, right? Not many.
A lot of people.
So tape, your big 3-inch tape is another good thing to use. And so, all right, cool.
Wait, patients coming that way?
All right. You guys got any questions on that? That's the cool stuff that we're gonna do in like the labs. You guys will get to play with this stuff when we do the labs and stuff too. Go ahead and take a quick break.